Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to be doing a quick review of the Kill Team Critical Operations 2022 Close Quarters mission pack. And at the end of the video, I've got a little conspiracy theory for you, so hang on for that. So the first thing to say is, what is this? Because you might have no idea. I did mention it in a very quick short a couple of days ago. Obviously, this came out on Friday. When I was travelling down to Nottingham for the Kill Team tournament. They have done the usual thing of putting it up in the downloads section. So it is there now in the downloads section, in the same place that you go to find the balanced data slate. But they haven't put a signposting article on the Warhammer community homepage. I really wish Warcom would stop doing. Like, I try to be a positive channel. If there's two things I'll moan about, it's them not producing cards in enough quantities, and Warcom not signposting its downloads. But there, it is what it is. So I will put a link in the description. I always say that. I don't always remember, but I will try and put a link in the description. In any event, it is in the same place as the balanced data slate. If you are watching this, then I am assuming that you know about the balanced data slate. So go to Warcom, to FAQs and downloads, Kill Team, and you'll find the Critical Operations 2022 Close Quarters supplement. Okay, so we're greeted first with the piece of blurb here, so I'll read through this. Critical Operations 2022 Close Quarters. The Critical Operations 2022 TAC Ops and Mission Card Pack offers a new and updated way to play matched play games in Kill Team. This document explains how you can use that pack in a battle that uses Close Quarters rules. When determining mission and map, use the pack's missions, loot, secure, and capture as normal, but use one of the 10 new map layouts in this document instead. We intend these maps to use Killzone Gallo Dark only, but players or tournament organisers can use Killzone supplements, e.g. Killzone Into the Dark, if they wish. For the pack's TAC Ops, 2 new TAC Ops have been introduced to replace 2 others. Seize Access Point replaces Seize Ground. Secure Unexplored Rooms replaces Secure Vantage. You can use the cards of the replaced TAC Ops as proxies if you wish, i.e. so they match the other TAC Ops cards to keep your selection secret, but use the rules for the new TAC Ops instead. In addition, for the Secure Centre Line TAC Op, walls over the centre line block that part of the centre line. However, an operative is on the centre line if their base is touching an open access point that's over the centre line. The operative is still wholly within the relevant territory. Finally, your barricades must be set up within your territory and more than circle from access points and all other barricades. So what we are saying there is that we have new map layouts. We'll get to them in a minute. We're still not intending our new map layouts to use that narrative terrain sprue that comes in both the big boxes, the one that actually changes, right? We've got 2 new tactical objectives. One replaces Seize Ground, the other replaces Secure Vantage. So straight off the bat, that is a much better solution than just removing the TAC Ops. Bear in mind, though, there are still some faction TAC Ops that are not available in Into the Dark, although now, if you're using this new system, this Critical Operations pack, because you're only allowed one faction TAC Op anyway, and you are choosing, generally speaking, rather than picking randomly, that's less of a problem, okay? And then we've got our clarification about the new security TAC Op and the centre line for securing the centre line, so what counts as a centre line Into the Dark. And lastly, an errata or a balance change about the placement of barricades that doesn't appear to have anything to do with, like, I'm not saying it's a bad change, it just doesn't appear to have anything to do with close quarters particularly. I guess because they've changed it so that it's not, right, so they've changed the barricade placement rules so that you're placing them anywhere within your territory, so then they had to clarify and say, actually, you can't place them more than circle. You have to place them more than circle from access points. So yeah, and other barricades so that you can't block off entire corridors. Yeah, so good. So let's look at the 2 new TAC Ops. I will read through these as well for you, since people seem to enjoy that. So Seize access point. You must reveal this tack-up in the target reveal step at your first turning point. Select one access point on the center line or within your opponent's territory. If at the end of the battle the total APL of friendly operatives within a circle of that access point is greater than that of enemy operatives, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition, there are no enemy operatives within a circle of that access point, and the total APL of friendly operatives within a circle is 4 or more, you score 1 VP. So this replaces Seize Ground. It is, to me, less attractive than Seize Ground, because Seize Ground requires you to select a piece of heavy terrain more than blue from your drop zone, whereas this requires you to select an access point that's either on the center line or within your opponent's territory. So you have to reach out from your deployment zone further to tag this, which does seem to make the tack-up less good. But then I have played no Into the Dark, so it's difficult for me to say how reasonable that change is. I'm just flagging up for you that that there is a slight difference there. Also, the access points are smaller than potentially a piece of heavy terrain could be. So again, that potentially makes the tack-up slightly more difficult. All that having been... Oh, and of course, with an access point, you're likely to funnel your miniatures to that point, right? So there's likely to be fights there. With Seize Ground, you could often pick something like a heavy terrain piece that was off in a corner being irrelevant, and either just stand a model there or force your opponent to divert models over there. So it's a little bit different. But this is still a much better solution than just taking away the tack-up, right? So at least you've got the option. And then we got the Recon tack-up. So this replaces Secure Vantage. Secure unexplored rooms. You can reveal this tack-up in the target reveal step of any turning point after the first. At the end of any turning point, if the total APL of friendly operatives within an unexplored room, see below, is greater than that of enemy operatives, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition with a different unexplored room, i.e. separated by access points, at the end of any subsequent turning point, you score 1 VP. So that's fine. Now, an unexplored room is an area of the kill zone that friendly operatives must move through an access point to enter. You cannot use unexplored rooms that contain your drop zone or have an access point along the line of your drop zone for this tack-up. So again, this does seem quite difficult. However, you don't have to... You just have to have more APL of friendly operatives. So if you have a big team, like a 10-man team, and you're surging around in groups, I think this becomes quite an easy tack-up to do, especially if you're against an elite team. And I know the elite team will have more APL, but you're likely to be moving around in groups of like 3, so therefore maybe you'll have more APL in each room. I don't know. Again, I'm very inexperienced when it comes to Into the Dark. I've not played any of it. Seems like quite a good tack-up, though. And again, it's a much better solution than simply saying, well, there are no vantage points, so you can't secure vantage. And then the new layouts. I am not going to go through all these layouts. There's 10 of them. I'm not going to go through them one by one and kind of talk about them competitively. I'm going to leave that to people who have more expertise with Into the Dark and how it works. I will just go through some basic things that I kind of noticed. So every single layout has 6 objectives. I know from listening to other competitively minded players that is viewed as a thing that they all should have had to begin with. Like, people really like missions to have 6 objectives. They've got rid of the corner deployment. So in the original pack, Critical Operations pack, there was corner deployment. That's gone. So it is all horizontal or vertical deployment now for Into the Dark. There is no corner deployment at all whatsoever. All these maps are new. Some of them, like the famous one that looks slightly like a phallus here, is a clear adaptation. They've just moved this wall. So there's a wall now in the middle of nowhere. That wall used to be here. So there are some that are slight tweaks, but there are no maps here that are exactly the same as maps that were already found in the supplement in the book. So they've had to change every single layout at least somewhat. There are 10 maps, so that we got 9 for open world. There are 10 for into the dark. I guess it makes sense that there are 10 for into the dark because obviously the open world maps don't prescribe terrain. You're prescribing terrain, so actually you need more variety because each game is going to feel quite similar. It does mean that I would just stick a D10 in your kind of kit of stuff, and then if you're playing kind of a friendly game in your house, you can just roll your D10 and say we're playing on this map, and that's better than trying to print them all and then like randomly draw just for the sake of randomization. Obviously, if you want to use bid or veto, you're going to have to print them or work something out with your opponent or make little tokens or whatever you want to do. But for randomly generating, I guess just roll a D10. That's what we're going to do most likely. And then if you go to an event, I'm sure the TO will just say, well, these are the layouts, these are the maps we've set up, right? So yeah, that's good. I think they all look pretty good. So I mentioned there was going to be a conspiracy theory. So here we go. Look, maybe this is nothing. Critical Operations 2022. The Critical Operations 2022 TAC Ops and Mission Card Pack. Like, why is that 2022 there? Are they planning to do a new Critical Operations pack at the end of each year? So in December 2023, we'll see Critical Operations 2023 with new maps, new tactical objectives, and new missions. So this would remind me, I don't know if any of you guys ever played Malifaux from Weird Miniatures. I was really, like, before Games Workshop brought out the first edition of Kill Team and really made a decent skirmish game, like, there was a couple of years there where I was all in on Malifaux because I really wanted to play a game at the... I've always loved Games Workshop stuff, but I really wanted to play a game at this scale with this many miniatures. So I was all in on Malifaux there for a couple of years until Games Workshop brought out the first edition of Kill Team. And they have a thing called Gaining Grounds. I did just give it a quick Google. They do still seem to do it. And that has a similar thing where they would replace all of the sort of... So again, like we have TAC Ops, they also had asymmetric objectives, and they would change up the asymmetric objectives and the missions every year to keep it fresh. So I think that could be it was a really good thing when Malifaux did it. I think it would be a really good thing if Games Workshop are going to do it. Obviously, the Games Workshop, the Critical Operations deck is a lot larger. And I know some people will complain having to pay out for a new deck each year, but I do think it could be really good for Kill Team. I think it could work really, really well. Yes, you can call it a tax, you can say a lot of things about it in that regard, but I actually think it could be really positive if we get a new deck every year that changes things up. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Right, final thoughts. So there is very little doubt here that this is intended to be a competitive gaming supplement. You know, they have removed all elements of narrative flair from the Critical Operations pack in the book. And I know the Critical Operations always was, and it's exactly the same, to be fair, with the open world ones. Critical Operations always was supposed to be the competitive version, but these are like hyper competitive. So, you know, they've taken away the little narrative flair elements, and part of me thinks that's a little bit sad. Now, I know there's nothing stopping me going back and playing the book missions right now, and part of it is I don't care so much for open world, because as cool as I think you know, the mission that I won twice at the last tournament with the firewalls and things is, as cool as I think that mission is, I have played it a lot. I haven't actually played any Into the Dark yet. So maybe I'm mourning for something having not tried it, and maybe they are really, really unbalanced and really, really problematic and causing some really unfun games. It is a little strange to me that these missions needed to be replaced so thoroughly, so quickly, right? You know, we've sat with the original missions for a year and a half. We've sat with the Into the Dark missions for 6 months, right? It's different. So replacing all the missions from the original Kill Team seems really fine to me, because 18 months of playing them, whereas these have been out for 6 months and they need to be wholesale replaced. So, but it's free as well, so I guess you can't complain too much, right? So, yeah, I'm kind of in two minds there. I'd love to read, because I'm in two minds, I would love to read your thoughts on that topic down below, because it would be great to get a kind of overview of how the community is feeling about this. So, I may get another video out tomorrow. I will certainly get another video out if they drop us like a balanced data slate, right? today or tomorrow, or something like that. I may do a video tomorrow anyway, because I am home, although I do have some errands to run and things to do. And then after that, I'm away until the 28th. So if I don't have another upload before I go away for Christmas, please do have a Merry Christmas, okay? Joy, peace, and goodwill to everybody. And then I'll be back on the 28th, so there will be something going up in the week between. Sort of, I'm sure there'll be some news to catch up on, because Games Workshop will, even though they're not working, they'll have queued stuff up to go up on Christmas Day and previews and other things, and maybe there'll be something for Kill Team there. But yes, peace, goodwill, joy, Merry Christmas, everybody. And, if... How do I put this? I know that for a few people, sometimes Christmas kind of sucks, because obviously I'm married, I got kids, I got family, I got lots of things to do, and I know that for some people it's like the time when people stop being available, that their usual wargaming friends stop being available, and they're just kind of left with this damp squib of everyone else is having fun and I'm just sitting here with nobody to play to Kill Team with. Please do pop into the Discord if you want to chat with like-minded gamers. Especially if you're feeling a bit lonely at the moment because your local, your gaming clubs or whatever you're doing have wound up, and maybe you aren't close. Maybe your family are in another country, or maybe you aren't close, or whatever else it is, or you're a bit older. Please do pop into the Discord and have a chat. Really important. Care about the community. All right, guys. Thank you. Cheerio, everybody, and have a great week or so, whatever it is that you are doing, and enjoy the time off from work. Get some hobby done. All right. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.